This is Nadine bringing you Ventura Vibe, a podcast featuring the local treasures of people and places that make our community here in Ventura so special. I've got interviews, games, community resources, and volunteer opportunities to get us connected. So let's get started. The Sheltering in Ventura series was recorded from home at the very start of the pandemic. Here's a little snapshot of where we were at that time. This interview was recorded April 23rd, 2020. Hey Ventura, welcome to Ventura Vibe Sheltering in Ventura edition. This is Nadine. Right now, I am checking in with Paul Jenkin from the Ventura chapter of the Surfrider Foundation. So nice to be able to chat with you, Paul. I hope you and your family are well.
Yeah, thanks for having me here today. We've been sheltering for weeks now. It seems like it's the new normal.
Yes. So when I previously interviewed you, Paul, you were busy with many Surfrider campaigns. Are you able to continue this work during our community sequester, specifically on, say, the Surfers Point Shoreline Managed Retreat campaign?
I've worked at home for years, so, nothing much has changed there. The difficulty is, when we have events or in-person meetings, which we did have a meeting with the Surfers Point working group right before, I think the week before the shutdown. And I was actually a little worried at the time because it was a pretty tight quarter closed room and I knew what was going on. And I was a little paranoid because I have other health issues and I didn't want to be exposed. But the outcome of that meeting basically is that the city is moving forward with the final plans for phase 2 of the Managed Retreat project. And we're hoping to see those sometime in the near future.
Do they have to wait right now for any lifting of restrictions, or are they good to go with the next phase?
It's still planning phase, so, nothing's actually happening on the ground. Once we have that final plan, then we'll be looking for grant funding to actually build it.
Okay.
Just to remind everybody, this is about moving the remaining parking lot of the fairgrounds property back to Shoreline Drive in order to resolve the problems there where the bike path is actually falling onto the beach right now.
Okay, thanks for that reminder. Also, so the last time I actually saw you was at the King Tides in January. It's so hard to think back that far. There was some erosion happening. I know is that separate from the Shoreline Managed Retreat? Do they dovetail together? That erosion under the promenade, because the promenade was also closed right after that King Tide.
Right. So the Managed Retreat project is actually on the upper part of the point, the fairgrounds section, which starts at the bathrooms all the way up to the river mouth. And so the first phase of that, we moved the bike path back all the way up by the river mouth. And the second phase is the remainder of the parking lot where the bike path is falling in again now. And so we're looking forward to resolving that problem, and that'll buy us many, many years and a lot of protection for fairgrounds property in the future. The promenade is, it's the result of the same issue where we built too close to the edge and storm waves were pounding underneath the promenade and actually had excavated a lot of the supporting foundation for the promenade. So that concrete was at risk of potentially collapsing. So the city back, I think it was February, came in and actually pumped concrete into the void underneath the promenade. And I just spoke with the city yesterday, and starting next week, they will be bringing in a whole bunch of large, giant boulders to place in front of that section of the promenade. This is right by the stairs um, that go down to the beach, the east side of the stairs down towards the pier. So they have put out a notification that access along the promenade in that section will be blocked because they'll have heavy equipment and they'll be moving in all those boulders and doing construction work. So if you're walking along the promenade from the pier up to the top of the point, you're going to have to detour into Harbor Boulevard and up to the fairgrounds and back up to the beach that way for perhaps a couple of weeks.
Okay. Well, hopefully there won't be too much traffic at this time going in around that area. Okay, so what is the latest information on the Matilaha Dam ecosystem restoration project?
The Matilaha Dam project is this big, long, never-ending planning project. So the same thing there. There was public meetings back earlier this year. Hopefully, some of the audience got to attend and learn more about the details of the project. Planning and engineering is ongoing. In fact, just this week, we submitted a $5 million grant to the Wildlife Conservation Board, which is a state agency, to fund the final engineering and planning for actual removal of the dam and the levees downstream. So that's going to be good news. I think it goes to the board next week. And so hopefully they will okay that and we'll have the funding available to do the final design on those project components.
So things are progressing, but maybe slower than in normal times, I suppose. Could you characterize it as that?
Well, I think the engineers and the planners are still like the rest of us working from home and, getting work done. And a lot of our coordination meetings were already done remotely because these engineers are dispersed around the West Coast. So that particular planning has not slowed down. So that's the good news.
Oh, good. I'm glad to hear. How about personally? The city just opened up the beach with some restrictions. Will you be heading out to surf anytime soon?
I did get down there yesterday.
Oh, all right.
It's going to be hot again today, so I might try and get out. It's hard. You got to park somewhere far away and walk in. I don't know where all the people are coming from. I think the real concern that I have is that because Ventura County beaches are now open and advertised as such, LA County's still closed. And so from my observation, it appears that we're getting a lot of people coming up from down south, and we have been ever since the beginning of this. There's a lot of people coming up, and perhaps it's not best for isolating Ventura County from potential infection coming up from
yeah, something to consider. Thank you so much, Paul, for checking in with me today and putting up with my tech problems. I hope to be able to check in with you again in person, though, next time.
Yeah, great. One more thing that I forgot to mention. Yes. We had planned a volunteer workday on the phase one and the new dunes at Surfers Point right when this happened. And it was before the official shutdown, but that weekend we canceled our event. So unfortunately, the weeds are growing and we didn't get to them this year. So I'm really disappointed at that because we were making such great headway on eradicating this invasive plant that is in the dunes up there. So anyway, hopefully we'll be able to get volunteers back out there again sometime soon.
Can volunteers go out there on their own, one at a time, and do some work? Or It has to be a coordinated group project.
Yeah, people who have experience, who've been out on our work days, know what sea rocket is, purple flowers. And unfortunately, a lot of those plants have set seed now.
Mm.
So if people know what they're doing and can, pull a couple of those plants and stick them in the trash can out there every time they walk past, we might start to make a dent in it.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Paul. Stay well and hope to chat with you again.
Yeah, great. Thanks for having me.
Thanks so much for listening to Ventura Vibe, a podcast dedicated to celebrating the community of Ventura, California.